Arkansas is under quarantine after a case of avian influenza was confirmed at the location. The Arkansas Department of Agriculture says it's sampling and quarantining nearby poultry flocks as well. Ag Secretary Wes Ward says there are more than 6,500 poultry farms in the state, making the industry essential to the Arkansas economy.
It's a reminder for commercial producers who are already implementing strict biosecurity measures, limiting access to their farms and to their poultry houses, to the backyard flock. If someone's in the backyard where they have poultry, making sure that they're washing their hands, that they're not potentially spreading a virus.
Ford says the risk to Arkansans is low, and poultry and eggs that are properly handled and fully cooked are safe to consume. The poultry industry contributes more than $6 billion to the Arkansas economy. Avian flu has also been detected in several backyard flocks and wild birds in Arkansas this year. Ford says anyone around poultry should remain vigilant.
With cooler temperatures coming and we're starting to see the migratory waterfowl patterns starting to really pick up, we wanted to put that information out there, just reminding poultry growers that it's that time of year and we'll be in this season for several months.
Some signs of bird flu include sudden unexpected deaths, a decrease in food and water consumption, and labored breathing, coughing, sneezing, or nasal discharge. I'm Frida Ross, Arkansas News Service. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
Support for KABF 88.3 FM comes from listeners and community partners. If you're a business owner or planning an event and would like information on how it can be announced on KABF, contact our office at 501-372-6119. That's 501-372-6119.
Inline skating, or riding a scooter. A helmet can protect against a skull fracture or other facial injuries. Look for a helmet
Yes, you can tell by the music. You got a guest host in the house. Woo woo, got a guest host in the house. Thank you so much for joining us at KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. You are listening to Arkansas Talks every Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock a.m. to 10 o'clock a.m. That's the show that's on KABF. And the host is Pat Rogers Ward. She's not in the studio today, but I am. I am the guest host this morning. Let me see, the Reverend Doctor, but you can call me Denise. And I'm super excited to have this conversation with you today, and super honored. When then other DJs and other hosts ask me to sit in for them, I really feel like, oh my goodness, they are trusting me with their show. Like, what? I love it. So thank you so much, Pat Ward, for because I know you're going to listen to the show. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here in your stead this morning. I really, really appreciate your trust in me. We are going to have a conversation today that involves everybody. Everybody is invited to this conversation. This is KABF, where all voices are welcome, and the phone lines are already open at 501-433-0088. The phone lines are already open at 501-433-0088. And my phone is on. It is not on Do Not Disturb. Right now, I just took it off Do Not Disturb, so that those of you who have my number, that's not my number, 228-236-7440. You can feel free to hit me up directly, text me, message me, and I'll make sure that your comment is on the air. I do have one announcement. This is from Dr. Anika Whitfield. Robert Bob L. Whitfield Celebration of Life Services, Saturday, December 27th, 2025. The Pi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Incorporated Omega service at 11 a.m. The location is Union AME Church, 1825 South Pulaski Street in Little Rock, 72206. And she goes on to say, in lieu of flowers. So that means do not send flowers. It doesn't matter if that's what your mama taught you. It doesn't matter if that's what y'all do in your family. It doesn't matter if that's what you're used to. We want to honor the family's requests. Do not send flowers. Instead, we are asking for people to consider, so it's your choice, to consider making donations to Grassroots Arkansas, all counties, and or Sunset Tigers at 3014 South Battery Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, 72206. Please put in honor of Robert Bob L. Whitfield in the memo lines. So they'll know exactly where this money goes, so they can allocate it. Accordingly. So that's the announcement. Do not send flowers. Instead, we are asking you to consider making a donation to Grassroots Arkansas, all counties. And there is a link here. So if you are interested in that link, you can call Charles in the office at 501-372-6119. Charles will make sure you get that link because I can't send it to you over the line like this. It's a lot. Or Sunset Tigers, or you can you can donate to both. Or you can choose one. Or Sunset Tigers, the Grassroots AAU football team, 3014 South Battery Street. And don't forget to put Dr. Whitfield's father. I'm so used to saying Dr. Whitfield. Her father, Robert, they call him Bob L. Whitfield. If you would put his name in the memo line so that they can keep up and they can track what is happening. And I also, if I'm just thinking the way that I would think, they probably also want to make sure that they have the information so that they can send you a thank you card, some kind of thank you. Also accompanies your donation, your contribution, your thoughts, your tributes, all of that. The family usually does well to do that. And so I would expect that too. So that's another reason why they would like for you to make sure that his name is in the memo line so that you can be thanked, because it's in the spirit of gratitude that they appreciate all of what you do for them in this time of grieving, this time of mourning, this time of loss. We were brought in today. The song is Ain't No Harm in Me. And the writers, this is a Black male, female, married couple that are singing country. They sing country, they sing gospel. Actually, if you ask them, they would not just put themselves in one bucket. They wouldn't say, oh, we sing country. They would say it's a blend of country and blues and gospel. And like all of that makes up their sound. And last time I was here on Arkansas Talks, I was actually a guest. And and Pat Rogers Ward asked me, how did I get into the ministry? I remember that question. And I couldn't help but think about it today for a couple of reasons. I just want to share a couple of stories with you. So she asked me that question, and I said, honestly, I was dating my first love. I was dating him, and he was a drug dealer. And I found myself so attracted to his lifestyle because mine was so much different. And I felt like there were a lot of restrictions, a lot of rules that I had to follow. Respectability politics plagued my entire life, and I'm still battling with it now. And so to see him living this like free, to me, this is how I was looking at him. It looks like he can do whatever he want to do whenever he gets ready to do it. And so he would sleep all day, and I'd be in school all day, and then we'd drive around at night, and he would always be playing gospel. And so he introduced me to gospel music, also introduced me to the woman who introduced me to her church. And it was at that church that I accepted my call to ministry, even though I went all the way to Florida before I actually did my first sermon. But I talked to his uncle. I saw his uncle when I went home for homecoming. His uncle's name is Matthew, and I saw Matthew, and he walked right up to me and was like, "Hey, Denise," and I'm like, "Hey." When your life is like mine and you are known by so many people, you gonna greet everybody with a smile. You don't know who it is. You gonna greet. I was like, "Hey," and he said, "You don't know who you talking to." I said, "You know what, sir? I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't know who you are." And then he reminded me. So the other day, Matthew called me. And I hadn't talked to him in years and years. And I just gave my number, like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, whenever the homecoming was. And so I thought it was him. And I said, "Hey." And then the person on the line started talking, and it just threw me for a loop. And so I was like, "Wait, what did you just say to me?" And then he said some more words, and I said, "Doug?" And he said, "Oh, that's what we doing?" I'm like, "What? Where are you?" He said, "I'm at my uncle's house." I said, "Oh, when you got to go back in?" He was like, "I'm never going back to prison." I'm like, "You out?" He like, "Yeah." I said, "Ho. Hold up. You taking me too fast. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. What you mean you out?" So he said that he was just processed earlier that day. And I still cannot wrap my mind around that, because he's been in for 30 years and now he is out. And he got his charge was 3 consecutive life sentences. So in my mind, that means that he's never getting out. And so I moved on with my life, believing that he's never getting out. He would tell me he was going to get out. I didn't believe him. Now, I didn't tell him I didn't believe him, because, when people are incarcerated, we want to always make sure that we align ourselves with their hopes and dreams for their lives, right? So if he said I was like, okay, I'm supporting you. So I was helping him with the parole paper. I'm doing everything I can. I didn't believe it, but I was doing it. And so he's out. I don't believe. I'm like doubting Thomas in the Bible. I'm not going to believe it until I see it. But what that made me think of is a story that is in the Bible about Peter, the Apostle Peter, who is in jail. He's in jail, and he's got 4 squads of 4 people guarding him while he is in prison. He falls asleep in between 2 of the guards, and all of a sudden there's this earthquake that shakes the foundation of the jail, and the angel knocks him in the side to wake him up. He wakes up startled, and as he gets up, the chains fall from his hands. He's loosed. As he gets up, the chains fall away, and he follows the angel. They walk all the way down one street before the angel is like, "Okay, I'm done. I brought you this far. The rest is up to you." And so he goes to the house where the people of God are praying for his release. The people of God are praying for his deliverance. They are praying earnestly. And when I think about the people of God in my culture, the way that they pray, I'm talking about it was some moaning, some groaning, it was some lying, it was some speaking in tongues, somebody was shouting, you praying. I mean, you pray the spirit down in that place. Everybody is excited and shouting because we believe in God. We tarrying for God. We are on one accord. We're two or three are gathered. That's that whole thing. So I'm imagining this in this room, and Peter goes and knocks on the door. He's knocking on the door, bang, bang, bang. He got to knock on the door, bang, 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 because they're making so much noise because they praying. The people of the Bible were charismatic people, so they would be standing up with the hands raised. They making noise, like they celebrate the opportunity to call on the name of their God. And so I can just imagine this. So he banging on the door, and one of the servants, Rhoda, comes to the door. She comes to the door, she sees Peter, and she's so excited that it's Peter that she forgets to open the door, and she runs back to the people that are praying, and she's like, Peter's at the door, Peter's at the door. And the people look, somebody, I'm gonna call him Mr. Good Sir. Somebody says, girl, it ain't no Peter out there. Stop playing. She's like, no, it's Peter. He's like, no, you must be seeing his ghost. Now they are praying for Peter's release. Peter has been released. He at the door. They don't believe it. She keeps insisting, listen, I'm trying to tell you that Peter is at the door. So finally they go to the door and they open up the door for Peter. Peter comes in and everybody is astonished. I mean, standing there like, wait, what? Like I'm on the phone, like, wait, what? I'm telling myself I'm in the Twilight Zone. They like, I'm seeing a ghost. Like, what is happening here? And so Peter comes in and he shares his story. This is what happened to me. The angel of the Lord released me. That is what happened. And when Peter gets through telling his story, then he leaves. He's like, I got work to do. So he leaves. But there's no doubt in my mind that the people that heard that story on that day were changed in that moment. And one of the things that I know, that I believe what the preachers say, using my sanctified imagination, what I believe changed about them was how they think about what they're doing when they say, I'm praying. Because many of us, I know I am. I was just telling somebody this the other day, because of who I am, because of my training, I always have a prayer on my tongue. I always have a song in my heart. I always have a word of encouragement for somebody. I've been trained that way. So there are some times when I don't even have to think about what I'm saying. I'm not even conscious of what I'm doing. I'm not even intentional about being careful with the words. I just know how to shoot from the hip. There you go. Yeah, we can pray. Somebody just asked me. We was at book club and somebody asked me to pray. I'm like, oh, I didn't know I was gonna pray at book club. And so I know that there are some of us that we just do things by rote. We know how to do them. Somebody calls us to do them. We in the space where you're supposed to do it, and it becomes a habit. It becomes a ritual. It becomes perfunctory. It means that it doesn't have the same, it doesn't carry the same fervor. It doesn't move in the same way in your, what does Deidre call it? Your shandalaha. It doesn't move in the same way because you've been doing it so many times. It's just something that you do. But I am convinced that these people walked away from this house, because they were at a house. But no, I wish we could still go back to church and house. But anyway, they were at the house. They went back. When they left that house and that prayer meeting was over, I know that they never looked at prayer. Oh, maybe I should say I hope that they never looked at prayer the same again. Because when you trust, when you have faith in something, and you move on it and you act on it, you should be expecting the manifestation of it. So when it manifests, why are we surprised? Why was I surprised that I'm talking to him that he got out? I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Look who is on the line. Vivian Pearson from college. Wesley's. No, I probably shouldn't call you that. Vivian, that I know you because of my best friend Wesley. Is that you? What? Hey, thanks for joining us right here, KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. You are listening to Arkansas Talks that is hosted by Pat Rogers Ward, and I'm sitting in as her guest today. Thank you so much for showing up on the line. Said, no, you didn't. Oh, that's not you? Oh, okay. Well, my bad. I thought that's who you were. Oh, I'm still glad that you showed up, Vivian. Still glad that you showed up. Charge it to my head and not my heart. And so I was thinking about that in light of this song that War and Treaty, that's the name of the group, War and Treaty. It's that married couple, that Black married couple that I talked to you about. And when you ask them the question of how they got their name, it's because they were arguing about their name. They were arguing about their name. Like, what are we going to call ourselves? Oh, wait a minute. She said, yes, it's me. I know that was you. I think you're saying, no, that's not how I meant. You're not the one that introduced me to my best friend. Yes. Okay. I got it. Yes. Oh my goodness. It's been so long. And then here I am talking about Doug. Doug was in college with me. You were in college with me. Oh my goodness. I'm having a moment right now. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. And so Warren, they're arguing about the name. What are they going to call themselves? And they're arguing so hard about my brother Derek, the one that comes on the line, the other doctor in our family. He has an EDD. I have a PhD. My brother used to say, I got a thank you, Lordy degree. But he does have a master's. Anyway, my brother says he calls it in his household, as for me in my house, we call it a spirited conversation. So they were having a spirited conversation, a dialogue about what they should be called. And finally, wait, here go Vivian. Vivian said, wait, you're talking about Doug? Is he out? Yes, I'm talking about Doug. He just called me last week and said he is out. I'm talking about out now. I have not verified this information, so I'm just telling you what's the word on the street. But I do intend to see for myself. I got to see. So Vivian, I know you know who I'm talking. Can you remember all the days that we spent in the union playing cards, slapping them cards down, talking cash? I was talking cash money at the table. Mm-hmm. That's him. He just got out last week. 30 years, 1995 to 2025. He's out. So finally, the female member, the wife, says to the husband, look, her name is Tanya. Y'all, you know what? I bet y'all know Tanya. Tanya Trotter is her married name, but her name is, her maiden name was Tanya Blunt. Anybody that has seen Sister Act 2, where Lauryn Hill is singing, she's singing His Eye is on the Sparrow, and there's a young Black woman singing with her. Lauryn Hill is really the lead. She's the lead, but there's a person that's harmonizing with her, singing it as a duet. That's this Tanya that's in this group from the War and Treaty. That's her. She married Michael Trotter Jr., and so now her name is Tanya Trotter. So that's who this is, for those of you who know that story. But she finally tells her husband, Michael, she said, listen, we need a treaty. And immediately he said, that's it. We're going to call it War and Treaty, because that's what we represent, because he used to be in the army. And so he knows about war. He knows about fighting, and he'll be ready to stand 10 toes down anytime. And she has been his source of healing, his source of comfort, his source of being that beacon, that beacon of light, pulling him. Sometimes, and I'm sure he does it for her too, but the way the story is told, just trying to keep him centered, because sometimes he'll get gone somewhere. And so it reminds us of this life that we are living in, where there's always, it seems to be, that there's always conflict. As a matter of fact, I used to go to a church that said there are only 3 stages that you have in life. Either you coming out of something, you going into something, or you about to go into something. Well, you going into something, you about to go into something, you in something, or you just came out of something. Like, those are the 3 phases. So there are conflicts all around. But according to, I always quote this verse in the Bible. I consider it a principle that I apply to my life. It doesn't matter what you are going through. This is 1 Corinthians 10:13. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You are not the only person going through it. You are not the only person who has ever gone through it. You are not alone. Be encouraged. You are not alone. But whatever it is that you are going through, there is always a way of escape. Always a way of escape. You don't have to be bound to it forever. You don't have to be overtaken by it. You don't have to be, you don't have to lose your life over whatever death looks like, because death is not always physical. But that doesn't have to happen. There is a way of escape. And so in many cases in Michael Trotter's life, Tanya has been his way of escape. And so they're talking about this world that we live in, where you have these constant conflicts, but we don't have to give in to them. And so when they're singing this song and it says, ain't no harm in me. You know where I got this? Okay. I brought up Doug because I brought up him. I told you there's a lot of reasons, a lot of stories to tell. But while he was incarcerated, I used to talk to him on the phone. And he would tell me, sometimes we wouldn't talk on the phone. There would be no noise. We would just be sitting on the phone. And I would play some of the songs that we listened to when we would ride around in the car. So no talking, just sitting and listening to music together. And he started saying, "Oh, you need to listen to this." So he's still doing the same thing he did 30 years ago, putting me on to music. And so he was the one who introduced me to War and Treaty. I'm so glad he did. And then former President Barack Obama usually would come out with a playlist every year. I don't know if they're still doing it now that he's no longer the sitting president. I don't know if they still do it, but this is on his playlist, one of his playlists. This is on there. And so they're talking about War and Treaty. That's who they are. It's Ain't No Harm in Me. And so he starts off in the song saying, "I've seen the devil, I've seen his sons chasing after the innocent with them blazing guns. I've seen the devil, I've seen his sons chasing after the innocent with them blazing guns. For me, the first thing that popped up in my mind was Walter Scott. Do you all remember Walter Scott? He's a black man who was running away from a white police officer, and the police officer shot him in the back. The police officer's name is Michael Thomas Flagger. Yes, I'm going to say his name. Sometimes we don't want to say his name. We don't want to give power. No, say his name. Expose him for what he did, for the evilness of his actions. And so he's shot Walter Scott in the back in North Charleston, South Carolina. And that was back in 2015. And so when I was thinking about that, the innocent with them blazing guns, because Walter Scott got pulled over because he ain't had no brake light out. Like, surely that should not cost you your life, right? Because you got a brake light that's out, but that costs his life. And so immediately I thought about that. So I felt like he was saying, listen, ain't no harm in me. When you think about anybody who thinks about this, I think about it through the black lens because I'm black. But whatever your lens is, when you think about the atrocities that you have witnessed in this world, whether they were your family, your ancestors, whether you want to claim them as your ancestors or not, but when you think about the sin that happens in this world, that's happening right now, can't nobody convince me that drinking is a sin. Can't nobody convince me that wearing pants is a sin. Can't nobody convince me that wearing jewelry or makeup and smoking. Can't nobody convince me that that's a sin. If you want to go to the casino, can't nobody convince me that's a sin. But what I am convinced of is a sin is poverty, is hunger, lack of access to healthcare, inadequate education. And even if you do have healthcare, it's not competent. And then for the people who have Medicaid, even if you say, well, at least they got insurance, but they don't have vision and they don't have dental, like their teeth and their eyes don't matter. And so that's what I consider sin. But when you see how this world operates, where they don't care how they kill you over what little thing, how they destroy your body, how they dehumanize you, it doesn't matter. We have lived through it. They don't care. But there's hope in this song because ain't no, I already know who you are. I already know the game that you play. I already know what you come. I've already seen your agenda. It's a different iteration, but it's the same old sin that you have, which is rooted in racism and then capitalism. It's the same old sin of patriarchy and sexism, the same old sin as homophobia and transfer, all of it. It's the same old sin, the original sin. It's all rooted in that. And so Michael and Tanya in this song, Ain't No Harm in Me, are reminding us, listen, they can't harm us any more than they already have. Our souls have already felt the worst that could possibly happen. People now are saying, oh, look at Donald Trump. Look at what he do. Oh, I'm scared of these times. Oh, my goodness, what's going to happen next? We've been through worse. And not only have we been through worse, we've survived worse. And not only have we survived during the worst times, we've thrived in them. Think about our Black ancestors, because all of us got the same. Look, we all bound by humanity. We all one. So all of us got the same ancestors. And so when we think about Tulsa, when we think about Elaine, when we think about 9th Street, when we think about all of these places with the worst things that have happened, we still have Black business districts that rose up in the midst of it all. So the story about Peter in the Bible where it says, when he got up out of that chair, the chains fell off. So when we decide to rise up for ourselves, when we decide, look, y'all ain't doing nothing to me that I can't deal with because I've dealt with all of this that you've already shown me with your blazing guns, with your ropes that you use for lynching folks, with all of the stuff that you've done, I'm still here and I'm still well able because when War and Treaty started, like, when it started when Michael was in the Coast Guard. He was in the Coast. Did I say Army earlier? He was in the Coast. It's the Coast Guard. If I say, I think I said Army. I feel like I heard myself say Army, but it's the Coast Guard. What's also interesting is that the man who killed him was also in the Coast Guard. Like, isn't that interesting? I just thought, look, somebody talk about 6 degrees of separation. We talk about this stuff. But anyway, he was in the Coast Guard, and he loved music, and so he would sing all of the time. And so one of his don't let me start lying about the rank of his superior or his supervisor. I don't want to say superior, his supervisor, but his supervisor encouraged him to go further and to learn music, learn an instrument, whatever. And so that's what Michael did. And then that supervisor died. So the first time that Michael ended up singing, like publicly, officially, was at that supervisor's at that celebration of life funeral. I'm not sure what they called it, but that was his first time. So that's how they came to be and said, so look, in the midst of, so even if I'm looking at the devil, and I've seen how you handle us, especially us Black folks, and yet and still, I started off singing from somebody that I celebrated the life of, somebody I had a good partnership with. That's how I started, just honoring him. And now look, I'm being nominated for Grammys. I'm receiving awards on the Country Music Awards. Like, and I think places where people wouldn't expect me to show. All of this is happening now, even in the midst of what this world is heaping on us with all of its discrimination and oppression and exclusion and war. All of those things, it's still possible for us to do to do good in the world. Let me say it like that. To do good in the world, to live our abundant life that was promised for us. And what we have to do is we have to raise up so those chains will fall off. And that's what they are offering to us to think about. And he keeps going. He says, I taste the nectar of the forbidden tree, and my eyes have been opened. And I was wondering, what is the forbidden tree? I was trying to think. I always try to figure out, what are they saying? And now, please hear me. I don't know what they meant when they wrote this song. I'm just telling you what I feel and what I felt and what I heard when I was listening to the song. Like, I'm not trying to be them. But when I think about forbidden tree, I think about, first of all, I think about the Garden of Eden when in Genesis, we would on my live last night, we were talking about the 2 creation stories. And so it's in Genesis when Adam and Eve, that's what we call them, were created, and there was a tree. They were not supposed to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They could eat from the tree of life, but they could not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And the knowledge of, like, why would you not want us to have the knowledge of good and evil? Like, wouldn't you want us to have all the, like, this is what I'm asking the text. Like, what is it about this forbidden tree that you don't want us to have? What? And what I walked away with was that I believe, this is my own belief. Please challenge me. 501-433-088. 501-433-0088. And so what I believe is that the true and living God, the Spirit of the living God, I ain't talking about these constructs that we have, these Jesuses that we done made up. I'm not talking about that. Oh, somebody said to me last Tuesday, she's like, I need to start calling in on your show because I need to push it back on this God that you don't like. I said, this God that you don't like. I said, when did I ever say I didn't like God? I said, I don't like what y'all done with Jesus. I said nothing about not liking God. Like, whoa. Let me clarify. So that's what I be talking about. This stuff y'all done made up about the Spirit of the living God. I believe, I know that listen, I'm one of them ones that can stand up and testify. I can testify about checks being in the mail. I can testify about healing in your body. I can testify about being delivered from violence. I can testify and listen. I know that there is a God. So that was interesting, but people do me and you the same way that I'm doing this song. I don't know what they mean by it. All I know is what I heard, what I hear, and that's my truth until I learn differently. And so this forbidden tree that we're not. So what I believe that the Spirit of the living God is saying, I don't even want to. I've created this Eden for you. It's paradise. I've given you all of the green plants for you to eat because according to the Bible in Genesis, we were supposed to be vegetarian. That's what we're supposed to be in Genesis. So I've given you got all that you can eat. Y'all can even walk around naked and not be ashamed. This world teaches us to be ashamed of our bodies. So many of us, don't let me talk about nobody else. I don't want nobody to say, you was talking about me. No, me. I've been on a weight loss journey since I was in what? Probably not. Yeah, at the end of elementary school. at the end of elementary school all the way up until now. Decades and decades of weight loss journeys for one reason or another, for shame from one person or another, from being delivered from the shame, and then like all of look, we don't need to be ashamed of our bodies. No, especially if we say that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. To anybody that lay eyes on you, because when we think about the way that God, the Spirit of the living God, sees us and says, "Oh my goodness, you're so beautiful. You make me want to sing." That's Zephaniah. Zephaniah said, "You make me want to sing over you." Why do you think mothers sang lullabies over their babies? "Oh my goodness, you're so precious. Oh my goodness, you are mine. Oh my goodness, what a wonder I'm holding in my arms." Did you know? We sing that song during this season. Mary, did you know about your baby boy, what he was going to grow up and do? And so God is like, did you know that when you were created, I knew what you were going to grow up to be. I knew what size you were going to be. And I still sing over you even now. So that forbidden tree, I was like, what do you want us to know? Here we are in paradise. We don't even have to worry about our bodies. Why don't you want us? Why we can't eat from this? And so I believe that the Spirit of the living God says, because I know that if you have this knowledge of evil, you're likely to practice it. I don't want you to know what it is to be evil. I don't want you to know what it means to inflict harm. I don't want you to feel trauma. I want you to understand and live in paradise with me. Just me and you. Just me and you. Just me and you. That's it. In covenant relationship with each other. That's all I want for you. But that's not what happened. And so the song says, "I taste the neck of the forbidden tree and my eyes have been open to your bitter scheme." So now that we know evil, not only can we practice it, but we can also recognize it, and we can also feel the infliction of it upon our bodies that are no longer even allowed to be worshiped. I keep telling people about Song of Solomon, the Song of Songs, the way that they worship that body in there is just amazing. And so the War and Treaty continues to remind us that now that our eyes are open, because once life happens and it shatters you. We talk a lot about the system of white inhumanity and the system of whiteness. Part of the problem with people who adhere to those systems is that you cannot see yourself. When somebody tells you that you're privileged, you get offended because you cannot see yourself. And you can't see yourself because you're not in relationship with people who will reflect to you what they see, what they feel, what you do. We cannot live. He says no man is an island, because we need each other, not just to get a job, not just to get a car. We need each other for everything. We also need each other so that we can see ourselves. You cannot see yourself because you are the picture. You are the picture in the frame. You are the fish in the water. You can't see yourself. And so when you are in relationship, see, most of us, especially in this day and age, we don't want to be in relationship with somebody that's going to argue with us. And when I say argue, I am not talking about screaming and shouting and fighting and going to blows. I'm talking about presenting your side, giving the other person an opportunity to present their side. And you are engaging and working that thing out together, just exchanging ideas and theories and philosophies and trying to find common ground and agreeing to disagree. No. We are in these echo chambers where all we want is for people to say what I want them to say, or else they add, oh, look at your president. Lord Jesus, have mercy. His narcissist. Look, all he does. And so when people talk about President Trump and look at him. Now he doing this and now he doing that. This is my ready response. Like I told y'all, I got a ready prayer. This is my ready response. I ain't mad at President Trump. I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him at all. Because this, as far as I'm concerned, the most honest politician I'd have never met in my lifetime. He showed us who he is. He told us what he was gonna do. He was like a caricature on the campaign trail, and still we voted for him. So now when we talking about, oh, I can't believe why you can't believe it? So I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at those people surrounding him that uphold this mess. Those are people I'm upset about, because you all have the privilege of being close enough, being in the circle to do something different. Oh, that reminds me of the pushback I got yesterday. So yesterday, as we were going out on the station, I said something to the FL. I brought up some words from Mayor Frank Scott. And are we supposed to call him the honorable mayor? Are the mayors honorable, or that's just judges? I don't know. So Mayor Frank Scott. I've talked about the words that he used in one of his videos when he was responding to the neo-Nazis coming from all over. I don't know where they came from, but they were coming from out of state. and to desecrate our land here in Little Rock. And he said something about, as a Black man, I'm pissed off. And then he said, but as a politician, I'm thankful or grateful, whatever words he used, about the upholding of the Constitution and the abiding by the law that was demonstrated by the police officer, the law enforcement. And I said that it is important for us, especially as Black folks, because we were on Community Voices where we center Black voices. So because of us, especially as Black folks, we have to live through the lens of understanding that we are Black first. That's what we got to do. We got to know that. And so the person contacted me and said, I really don't appreciate what you said, because what it made me feel like is that you feel like people who are Black, when they get in power, they're only supposed to work for Black people. And so you talk about like this spirit of oneness, but then now you're trying to encourage Black folks to only work for Black folks. And I said, oh my, I think I can see how you get there. I think I can see the roadmap that took you there, but that's not what I meant at all. So are you willing to hear me tell you what my intention was? Because, some people don't want to hear what you gotta say. They just want to tell you what they want to say. And that's fine. I'm here for all of it. So I asked people, can I share with you what I really meant when I said it? And I'm so grateful that this person said, yes, I would like to hear it. Actually, that's why I reached out, because I want to make sure that I'm understanding you. I said, no, this is what I meant. And this goes for, again, everybody, whoever you are, whatever your identities are, whatever labels that you have that you carry for yourself or that have been imposed upon you, however you define yourself, when your lens is your lived experience, and your lived experiences have been traumatic in some cases, if you carry those into those traumatic lived experiences, those dark days, those disappointing, disheartening, those discriminatory, those oppressive, the suppressive, if you carry all of that story with you, when you do get into a position of power, and if you lead from that space will guide you into creating policies that will not do that same harm to somebody else. You'll know how it feels when somebody says something to somebody who, like these people I'm talking about, who are so bound by the system of white inhumanity and whiteness that they can't see themselves. Now you are in the room as the light that will expose to them another way of thinking, another way of seeing, because you are bringing with them your experience that can change the whole environment. It can change the tenor in the room. It can change the atmosphere. It can change laws. It can change policies. That's what I meant. So if you lead as Black first, and you have power, wield that power so that it does not compromise other people who are going through similar or the same things. Because when I felt like when the mayor said, as the mayor, I'm like, oh, okay. So what I heard, I don't know what he meant, because I haven't talked to him. Next time I see him, I usually see him now. Next time I see him, I'll ask him. But what I heard was, like, as a Black man, I was pissed off. But I really can't show that madness when I'm over here, because I don't want anybody to say oh my goodness, look at this angry Black man. I don't want to offend anybody, because I got to work with these people. I want to make sure that everybody gets along, because I need to ask them for some stuff later on. And so then that truth, that pistivity? I don't know what that word is. I'm going to make it up. Pistivity. But if he had brought that pistivity in there, they would have had a different conversation. We would have had to walk away with some other kind of understanding about what went down with these neo-Nazis if he had taken that lens with him. That's all I was saying. I'm not saying only work for your people. I'm saying allow your story to shape how you work for all people, because you don't want people to experience the pain and the trauma of what you've gone through. And so once your eyes are open, this is what Warren Treaty says, once your eyes are open to that forbidden tree, once you now know evil and you see evil and you've been impacted by it, and now you understand it, you can't harm me no more. Because what does the phrase say? The phrase say, first time shame on you, second time shame on me. And I tell people all the time, I am like David in the Bible. When I think about my life growing up with my daddy, you ain't never have to worry about me getting in trouble for the same thing twice. Now I got in a lot of trouble. David got in a lot of trouble. But y'all show me where I'm wrong. I ain't never seen David get in trouble for the same thing. You go get me one time. We talk about this a lot of times in Black women's circles. We talk about domestic violence, and particularly as it pertains to Black men, because those are the spaces I be in my personal time. And so we, some of us sometimes say, "Girl, I wish he would hit me." And I say, "Listen, I'm gonna keep it real. He might hit me. I don't really know. There's a first Sunday in every month, but I can tell you this: if I stay alive after he hit me that first time, I guarantee you he'll never hit me again. I guarantee that. So I can't control you. I can't control what you do, but I can control once I see. Once I see and once I know and my eyes have been opened, I can move differently. I know how to navigate this. I know how to make sure that this never happens again. So now I can say, on the back end, now that the veil has been lifted and the scales have fallen from my eyes, and I now know that I know that I know that I know, ain't no harm in me. You ain't gonna get the opportunity. That's what War and Treaty is telling us. There's no harming us now. Look at how far we've come, even as a country. Now we're trying to go backwards, but we have made a lot of gains. We still ain't got reparations for Black folks, but then that's another show. But we've made a lot of gains. So even in the midst of the original sin of chattel slavery, of forcible extraction, forcible removal of our native siblings from the land, then in chattel slavery, like all of the different ways, to servitude, and all of the things that we've done to bodies to exploit them for labor, we still here. And I know the system of white, you know what? Sometimes I think about the system of white, I'll be like, I know y'all mad as all get out, because we still here. Y'all done tried everything. And we still here. What's that meme that goes around and says something like, you thought I was a something, but I'm gonna see. Don't let me make it up. I was getting ready to make it up. I ain't gonna even try to make it up. But then War and Treaty goes on to say, I done robbed the man of the evil plan, so there ain't no harm in me. I done robbed the man of the evil plans. Usually we call the man, the white man. Usually when we say the man, we talk about the white man. We're not talking about the indivisible white man. We're talking about the system of whiteness, the system of white humanity. We just call it man. Just like y'all say, the man upstairs. I don't encourage people to do that, but if that's what you want to say about God, that's between you. Let me back up. Let me take that statement back where I said I don't encourage you to do that. That's your God. If you do whatever you want to do, I ain't gonna do that in my relationship. So here I am talking about what you don't need to do. No. I'll take that back. But here's what War and Treaty is saying. People who, now I do know this quote from Audre Lorde. If you don't define yourself for yourself, you will be crushed or crunched into other people's definition of who you are. Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing her quote. She says, everybody got an agenda for your life. Your mom and daddy had an agenda for your life. Your spouse has an agenda for your life. Your partner has an agenda for your life. Your child has an agenda for your life. Your boss has an agenda. Like everybody has something that they want you to do, a path they want you to follow, a place they want you to get to. Everybody has it. And if you are not careful, you'll be following these plans. And even the other phrase that people say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You call yourself just doing what you think you're supposed to be doing for other people, not realizing, no, you got a whole self. You got a whole ego that you can tend to, and you can manifest for yourself what your life should look like. And so War and Treaty says, oh yeah, I know they had a plan for me. I know y'all looked at me and thought this is what y'all was going to do for me. I know that. Oh, wait a minute. Caller, you're live on the air, KABF at 8.3. Thanks for calling. I done moved this thing. I barely saw it. Good morning. Good morning.
Hold on. I was listening a little bit. You were talking about prayer, I believe.
Yeah.
Prayer, if you look it up from an ancient position, so to speak, if it's like a hunter going out in the woods, you don't go out in the woods raising a lot of noise. You listen. If you got a problem, you listen within yourself for guidance from the divine. This is why it says pray without ceasing. You are constantly being guided by the divine that's within you. And that's one of the main reasons, go in your quiet place. Listen to what's coming to you to guide you. That's all I have to say about that prayer situation. Sometimes we be out talking and all this stuff, And we think we're really praying, but we're really not praying because we're running our mouth and not listening. Thank you.
Yeah, I wonder. I told somebody usually whoever's on the other side of the control seat can see the light blinking to let us know that somebody's on the phone. So if you've been calling, that was my first time seeing the light blink. Let me move this. I'm trying to move this computer. I'm trying to situate it so I can see it better. So if you've been calling, please call back. I want to hear what everybody got to say. 501-433-0088. And I got it. It's in my periphery. I should be able to see the light flashing. So the call, I appreciate you. So one of the things that I do say, so the call is like, listen, sometimes y'all talking so much, you're not even praying because you should be sitting down, listening, being still so that you can know who God is in your midst, who your God is in your midst. Well, I tell people all the time, like the prayer is not for God. Because we always talk about the Spirit of the living God. We talk about God. God knows if you believe that God is omniscient, that means everywhere. I mean, omniscient means all knowing. If you believe that God is omnipresent, which means everywhere at the same time. If you believe that God is omnipotent, all powerful. If you believe that, then the prayer is not for God because God already knows. The prayer is for you. So you're really talking to yourself, right? So you're acknowledging what you need. You're acknowledging your helplessness in this moment or whatever it is. I don't know what it's praying for, but in the case you are praying for something like you're requesting something like you need a healing, you need a job, you're making your request known. That's for you to be strengthened by the words that come out of your mouth. That's the prayers for you, because God does not need to be reminded about what you're going through like that. Not according to the way Christianity is taught. And so sitting and listening is the most important part. I just bought this Bible from Barnes and Noble. I would get it every time I went to Barnes and Noble. I would go get that Bible and I would sit with it, and then I would leave it there. So I finally decided to buy it. It's called the Lectio Bible. It reminds me of being in seminary. We called it Lectio Divina, where you're supposed to sit and read the Bible with the Spirit. And so what this Bible has done, it has taken out all of the verses. There are no numbered verses. It has taken out all of the chapters. There are no chapters. It has taken out the titles, like they'll say the fall. If you turn, like the books, the Bible, some of the Bibles I have at home, if you turn to Genesis chapter 3, the title is the fall. And so you're automatically gonna look for the fall without just listening to see what the Spirit says. Because I ain't heard nowhere. I have not read anywhere in Genesis where it says they fail. That's what we have said. And so this Bible strips away all of what keeps us distracted so that we can just sit and listen. So the caller is saying, listen, for those of you who want to pray, prayer is not so much about talking as it is about listening and letting the Spirit within you connect with the Spirit that you believe in, so you will know what to do and you will know which way to go. I appreciate you calling. So who's on the line? Alex Epps. Ooh, Alex Epps. Good morning. That's a new name. That reminds me. Tuesday. Was that Tuesday? Okay. So, Mr. Benjamin, if you are listening, I hope you are listening, because you sent me a note, you sent me a card, and you labeled it. You addressed it to DJ Delight, and I was like, I'm not really on the air much as DJ Delight, so I don't know, like, does he listen to Community Voices? And then last week, the last time I was here, Pat Rogers-Ward said that most people that listen to her show listen to Community Voice. I was like, I didn't know that. And so if you are listening, let me just say, your card made me laugh out. I'm talking about, if anybody knows me, if I'm in the room, I don't care where you are in the room, you can hear me. I laugh from the depths of my belly if it is funny. I ain't trying to be cute or any of that. Wait. It was I ain't trying to be no lady, and then I'm gonna laugh out loud. And so I am gonna write you back, Mr. Epps. You made me think about it because you are a new name. I'm not used to your name, and then I did not know Mr. Benjamin either. So I just appreciate you. I am gonna write you back. Give me a minute though. Give me a minute. And so I just want you to know I appreciate it. One thing that I find attractive, and I'm not talking about I want to get with you, I want to be your girlfriend. I don't want to be your partner because I'm too old to be a girlfriend. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about attracted to your energy, like a black man with a spine that's bold enough to make his request, that's bold enough to tell you that's bold enough to tell you what he's looking at, that's bold enough to tell you how. I'm like, yes, King, yes. So I will write you back. And thank you so much again, Alex Epps, for joining us as well. So the song goes on to say, I seen the devil, I seen his daughters bringing down the thunder on their absent fathers. I seen the devil, I seen his daughters bringing down the thunder on their absent fathers. Wait a minute. Alex F said, I'm a Lanier High School graduate. I know your father. Oh my goodness. You know my dad. So then you can attest to the fact that my daddy didn't play. that means you know that LB Donnell did not play. He still don't play because I still hear him talking to me. Not every day. I don't hear him as much as I hear about mama, but I absolutely hear him when I'm in some situations. So, oh my goodness, Lindy. 833. Okay, wait, can I do it? Wait. 833. You see my hands? I'm throwing it up. 833. That's the address for Lanier. Oh my goodness. It's a small world. But when I thought about them saying you're bringing down the thunder on their absent fathers, the first thing I thought about was welfare, when it was that during that time when they were giving welfare, particularly to Black women, and it was a requirement that they not have a man in the house. And if you had a man in the house, then they would not help you. Right. And so they created these spaces where there are absent fathers, only to then turn around and shame you for not having a father in the home. And then I thought about mass incarceration, because again, I'm thinking about Doug, Vivian, all of us. Listen, all of us are in this moment, in this sphere together. Mass incarceration. He's in jail for 30 years because honestly, I'm not gonna say he wasn't guilty of anything, but I know what they got him for is not what he did. Kind of like how they had Diddy on trial, and I'm looking at the trial, I'm like, y'all trying to try him for something that this ain't even the charge that y'all trying him for. That's kind of how it was with Doug. And so you really got him because he would not turn state's evidence. I don't know if you all know this, but if you are entangled in law with the law, and the people come down, they want you to tell them something. If you don't tell them, they come after you, and they come after you with a vengeance. And so that's what they did to him. And of course, if he could go back, he probably would have turned state's evidence. And so Mr. F said, oh, you saying something else. I know your father from the NYSP program at Jackson State, also National Youth Sports Program. Wait a minute, what do we used to call them sandwiches? The wolf booty. You remember that? Because you would get we would go to the park and we would all be outside eating, and we had a bag, and the bag had like some juice in it, had a sandwich that was rolled up in some cellophane, and it was some bologna or something. Oh my goodness, how young was I? Oh my God, my daddy ran that program for years. Oh, you are taking me back. And you know Doug also. Can you put your hands on? Do you know his number? I need some verification. I'm still like the people in the Bible. I know that we've been praying for it, but it's yet hard for me to believe. And so that's why that there is this verse also in the Bible that says, I believe, but help thou my unbelief. I want to believe it so bad. I want to know it's going to manifest so bad, but I'm still wondering. I'm still holding on to maybe it won't. And so even though you have concocted all of these systems that we get entangled to, the system of child support, the system of welfare, the system of white inhumanity, the system of whiteness, the system of mass incarceration, even though you have entrapped us in all of these ways, you still cannot harm me. You've already done the worst that you can do for me, because the second time it's going to be shame on me, and I'm not going to give you the opportunity to shame to come can get me again. You ain't gonna be able to do it again. And so instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your gold. He said, I took the devil's gold and I took your heat. I done robbed you. I done turned the tables. I'm turning this thing around. Those of you that like to go to those churches where you worship through praise songs, and when you singing a song, like he'll turn around and you get up out your seat and you start turning around and got your hand up, turn around. Yeah, we turn this thing around. And that's what I want to, wait. Oh, he said, I won't talk too much on here. Yes, I can touch. Okay, I'm going to reach out to you when we go. He said, I won't talk much on here. Good. I appreciate that. 228-236-7449. When you 7440, I'm going to try to hit you up on Messenger. Then, so if you see that number, I don't know how Messenger works. Does it show you the number? It'll show you on a text. I don't know, but I'm going to try. I'm coming for you. Just like the man that called in about the prayer. I'm coming for y'all. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, don't talk here. Yes, I can touch him. Need to talk to you. Okay, and so that's what I want to leave us with today. This war, first of all, war and treaty. Get to know them. You would love some of their songs. I really believe that. But also these words that no matter what is happening around us, the world is crazy right now. It does feel like the Twilight Zone. I know, because I'm one of the ones like, is this the Twilight Zone? I understand that, but they can't. The original sin has already happened. What more can they do to us than what they've already done? Yeah, okay, cool beans, please do. I'm serious. I'm gonna keep my word. What more can they do to us than what we've already done? At this point, the only thing they can do to us is what we allow them to do. So let us make up our minds that they ain't gonna be able to do nothing else to us because our eyes have been opened. We've robbed them from the go. We've taken what was ours. Obviously, they said the word rob. I'm not gonna call it rob. We got what's ours. We took it. I ain't waiting on you to give me I'm gonna take my reparations and know that we're gonna not only survive, but we're also gonna thrive and we can get it done. We can manifest it and we need to believe what we are hoping for. Believe what is yet on its way. Make ourselves sit down and listen so that we'll know how to manifest it in our world. Thank you all so much for joining us for Arkansas Talks. You have been live right here with the Reverend Doctor. You can call me Denise. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be right here for the next 2 hours because I'm going to sit in for DJ Russ for Jazz Review. So don't touch that dial, but I am going to lead us into that space with Lauren Hill and Tanya, her name at the time was Blunt, singing just a little bit of portion, just a portion of His Eyes on the Sparrow. Thank you all so much for joining us. Stay tuned.